What would you do if half the people in your city suddenly started dying? What if no one knew why it was happening? In the year 1348, a silent killer arrived in London, and within months, the city would never be the same again. Today, we're going to reconstruct medieval London during the Black Death and see what life looked like in one of the darkest moments in human history. But the most terrifying part? At first, no one understood what was happening. London in the 1300s was already a crowded and chaotic place. Around 80,000 people lived inside the city walls, a massive population for the medieval world. The streets were narrow, houses leaned toward each other across dark alleys. Waste from homes was often dumped directly into the streets, and the River Thames carried both trade and sewage. To people at the time, this was simply normal city life. But in 1348, ships began arriving in English ports with terrifying rumors. Across Europe, entire towns were collapsing. People were dying within days. Some developed strange black swellings on their bodies. Others collapsed with fever, delirium, and bleeding. The disease had already devastated Italy and France. Now it was heading toward England, and no one knew how to stop it. By the autumn of 1348, the plague reached London. At first, only a few people fell sick, but within weeks, the deaths began multiplying. Church bells rang constantly. Gravediggers could barely keep up. Medieval doctors tried everything they could think of. Some believed the disease came from poisoned air. Others blamed a rare alignment of the planets. People burned herbs and incense to clean the air. Some carried flowers or perfumes to protect themselves. None of it worked. Soon, entire households were dying. Parents buried children. Children buried parents. Sometimes entire families vanished within days. Mass graves began appearing outside the city walls. One burial site in London would eventually hold tens of thousands of bodies. And the city itself began to change. Markets grew quiet. Streets emptied. Fear spread faster than the disease itself. But there was something even more mysterious about the plague. Sometimes it struck quickly. Other times it seemed to disappear, only to return again. No one knew that the real cause was hidden in the shadows of the city. The Black Death was caused by a bacterium known today as Yersinia pestis, and it traveled through fleas living on rats. Medieval cities like London were the perfect environment. Food scraps, open waste, crowded wooden houses. Rats thrived everywhere. When infected fleas bit humans, the disease spread rapidly. Within days, victims developed painful, swollen lymph nodes called buboes. From there, death often followed quickly. Between 1348 and 1350, the Black Death killed an estimated 1/3 to 1/2 of London's population. Entire neighborhoods were left nearly empty. But something unexpected happened afterward. With so many people gone, workers suddenly became scarce. Laborers demanded higher wages, peasants gained new bargaining power, and the rigid social structure of medieval England began to shift. In a strange and tragic way, the Black Death helped reshape European society. Today, it remains one of the deadliest pandemics in human history. But when we look back at medieval London, we're not just seeing tragedy. We're seeing a moment that changed the course of history forever.